Good morning, TheEZGZ here. I'm going to call this part 2 of head shop talk, heads, valves, springs. This is a 2110 Volkswagen engine, 82 crank with 90.5 pistons and cylinders. It's 20 years old. This is the head that came off of it. This is from CB Performance 20 years ago, the Magnum 44044 40 by 35 performance head. It just has round ports, nothing special, no real fancy thing. The big sales point back then was the stainless steel 40 by 35 valves. It had these dual springs that came with these, the chromolar retainers and keepers. Fantastic head, proved the test of time for me. These are my opinions and mine only. You listen to whoever you like. Okay, these were filthy. They had carbon buildup in them. I spent some time with carburetor cleaner and brake fluid and Scotch-Brite pad. You don't want to scratch or gouge this surface because there's no gasket between here and the cylinder. It cleaned up. It looks real nice, so I'm sure there wasn't any leakage or issues there, and I'm going to put these on a different engine. I'm just showing you what's inside. So I took the springs off, running the double springs. You can see the base of this is got a little bit of wear, but it's not bad. That's why I took the double springs apart on the new head and reinstalled them instead of putting a steel shim down there. I should get my steel shim pack and show you. When you shim it up, you also increase the spring pressure. I'm running this on the street, not the strip. This is a C35 Scat Cam or a Engel 110. Those are not crazy performance cams. Those are very moderate performance cams, but they will spoil your idle and they will interfere with running a single stock carburetor on your engine. It'll run like poop. So now what I want to show you, you open it up just a little bit, push it open, and you move it back and forth, up and down. You shouldn't have that much. There's got to be a little bit of movement, just a little bit, but not a lot. And these heads are in excellent shape. This engine has got a lot of hard time on it because it was in a sandrail, and I street rod raced it, just stoplight bullshit, but it didn't have over the road mile after droning mile. They're in excellent condition. Here's all I did was take these valves out. Here's one right here. Okay, and when you take a valve out of a head like this that's been in use, if it comes right here and gets sticky, if it doesn't want to come, gosh, I hope that's coming out. If it gets stuck, don't force it out. Don't twist it and pull on it. You've got a great handle here. Get your fingers underneath there and yank that son of a bitch out. What happens is overuse with these heavy springs, these keepers down here that hold it in place in these grooves, they will do a little wear and tear. They'll curl up the edge. And that's what happened right here. See, it wants to go right here and it wants to stop. Hear that? Don't force it through. This one was that way too, and now it's coming through. It goes through back and forth. What I did is take this stone, you could use your knife sharpening stone, you could anything, and just carefully rotate that stem with your other hand that's not holding the camera. Just pull it back. You don't want to take off a lot. You're just wanting to trim off that little bit of a burr. So I just held this up there and I turned the valve spring. I seesawed it up and down a little bit. I wouldn't use, if you got a real fine file, but I don't recommend using a file, but you use, with all of my videos, I want you to think for yourself. You use the tools and things that you have available to you. You do what you can afford to do. No matter what you do, you're going to learn, you're going to gain experience. If you're just starting out, and it seems like a lot of people that are watching my videos are people that are curious and they want to get involved in this and they don't have a lot of money. You do the best you can do with what you got. You don't have to do things exactly the way I do it, and you don't have to have a lot of fancy stuff. Chances are you might pull an engine apart that had some performance stuff and you just want to clean it up and freshen it up. Now, let's continue on here. Now, you look at that nice pretty valve. Okay, look at the valve next to it. This is an exhaust valve. See that carbon? And this whole thing was full of carbon. Is polishing that gonna make you more power? Probably for a little while, but you know what? If you drive this thing back and forth to work or school every day, it's gonna carbon up. If you just have a garage clean that you're just gonna take and play with on the weekends, or maybe you're one of those guys that likes to go to the racetrack. I don't know, if we have one event a year here in Denver, the Bug-In, every August at Vandermeer Speedway. And a lot of guys go down there and race. It's bracket racing, for crying out loud. It's not heads up, top fuel, blah, blah. There's some big dogs that come over there and they go real fast, and there's drag cars and turbo cars, but the majority of people are just going through the swap meet, going to watch these people. They have their own cars. You're more than willing, able to sign up, and you can run your car down the strip. It's a fun experience. I got a trophy one year. In 1993, I got wrote up in VW Trends magazine. Matter of fact, let me pause and I'll show you that. There you go. I was going through all these pictures to do my Sand Story series, which I will get back to when time allows, and going through my files and looking for pictures, and I ran across this. I had preserved this for posterity. This is VW Trends magazine, 1993, and it highlights the Volkswagen Jamboree Fine Line Bug-In. I don't know what the Seattle Bug Nationals were, but here you go. Here was the Fine Line Bug-In. Colorado's Bug-In kicks off the largest VW event in the Rockies. You know what racers are always trying to win for? You know why they want to be first? So they get a kiss from the trophy girl. Yeah, baby. Uh-huh. Yeah, we were rocking back then in 1993. And I had my name is in print. And I was runner-up. I didn't get a photo. I don't even know if the first place guy got a photo. Probably did. But anyhow, I got presented this trophy plaque. Yes, sirree. It's one of the highlights I'll never forget. And here's a picture that they took and gave to me of me receiving it. That guy next to me was the first place winner. I was runner-up, and I had this little sand buggy here. This is the one I bought that had the Pinto motor, and I sucked the valve in that, and I ended up finding a 2-liter engine for $1,500 and put that in it and raced it and got this runner-up trophy. 1993 Bug-In. Yes, sir. And you know what? All that stuff is well within your reach. It was an enjoyable weekend. I didn't win any money. I think it cost me $35 to go have fun. It was 3 trial runs for time trials to dial in. It's bracket racing. You're just going against the clock. There's no 2 cars alike, so you just go against the clock, and you try not to go faster than your dial in. That's the same as a red light. If you do a false start before the light turns green, that's the red light, and you're out. You win it. And they just keep pairing you off until they get down to the finals, and then the last 2 guys. So I remember one year my son took the little tub buggy. Where have I got a picture of that? My fiberglass car. And we made it to the finals again, and he was racing, and he was put up against a Volkswagen bus. This thing was slow, but he had his dial in, and so he got to leave early, and I was just praying that my son wouldn't red light. And this guy's first gear, second gear, my son's still sitting at the light waiting for it, you know. And then all of a sudden, third gear on the bus. And the guy's like halfway down the track, and all of a sudden they turn my son loose, turns green. He's headed down the track. The bus won. It was a photo finish, and the bus won. Oh! Because it was dial-in. Did we have fun? Hell yeah. Were we disappointed that we didn't win? Yeah. Would any performance mod made a difference? None. That bus beat us slower than I bet. God, I wonder if I have a picture of that someplace. Probably a split window. I mean, this thing was slow. Actually, it's probably fast. I think he had like a 19-second. I don't know. It seemed like a long time. But you get the point. You get the point. All right, let's go back in the garage. My camera's doing strange stuff again. All right, here's a valve, an intake valve out of the 44 Magnum head that was on my 2110 for 20 years. This was a stainless steel valve. It doesn't have that fancy swirl on it, but that was all carboned up. You couldn't even see it. And this cleaned up nice. It looks in good shape. I'm looking at my seating surface, and I put a little valve grinding compound on it, and you can see right here around the ring around there where it's sitting in the seat, and this is not what you consider a valve job. All I'm doing is cleaning it up, and I put a little valve grinding compound on there, and I turned it back and forth with my finger. I didn't even use a suction cup and that, which you can do. I just did it here, and I went back and forth, and I wiped it off. And I'm calling that good. It's not a valve job. Doesn't have to be. Don't have to have that fine margin. Don't have to be in exactly the right way and the right thing. In Hot Video Dubs magazine, it's going to tell you that that's what you got to have. If you're looking at somebody that's selling something, the old blue books and stuff, this is what you had to have for power and for performance. Does the average guy have to have this to get back and forth to school and back and forth to work? No. Are you going to feel it in the seat of the pants? Probably not. Do you have the kind of camshaft and springs that allow you to get that kind of RPM? In a heads-up race, all things being equal, you're going to have the edge over the other guy. How many two guys are going to be battling it out side by side with exactly the same engine where that's going to make a difference? I'll tell you something about that little bit wider valve margin. If it was that fantastic to have that high performance 3-angle valve job and it really extended the life of your engine, wouldn't the factory do that? That valve margin, that extra seating area, gives you a little more contact. That contact, even though it's momentary, allows heat to transfer from the valve to the valve seat to the head and be dissipated. In the factory valve setup, they had you set up your rocker arm so it was off center on the valve stem. That's the way they did it, so that it turned the valve as it was operating. Just a very small amount, but it kept rotating the valve. That kept it even, kept the seating surface there, and helped with hot spots, because that's the way these air-cooled engines, and every engine, as far as valve life goes, is you've got to transfer that heat away. They make the valves out of special things. They do all kinds of magic that we don't even understand. People work full-time, 40 hours a week, on specific things like we're talking about, and that's their job. They're in research and development. They work for big corporations. They have teams of people spending months and months to make a very small change to make sure that it's cost effective for them. It's going to give the customer the value and what they expect, and they're always trying to outdo the competitor, the other guy. Make the most for the least with the highest profit margin. And that's what these magazines are, Hot B-Dubs, VW Trends, whatever magazine you're reading, and they have these articles on. They're selling something. And they're showing you what the pros do and the big dogs do. Do you need that to get back and forth to work and school? I don't know. That's your call. It's going to carbon up. How long is that fancy swirl polished valve that's on my new heads going to last? Not that long. Not that long. So these valves appear to be in good shape. Let me just put you on the stand here, and we'll just kind of go through this here. I'll show you exactly what I was doing and how I was doing it, like I always do, huh? Okay, we'll get this down in here. Now, this exhaust valve is sticking. Better make sure you're in the picture. I just did some of this and I don't even know what stayed in it. So I'm going to reach around the other side here. The valve is hanging right there on that first groove. So what I'm going to do is just take this stone. You could use your knife sharpening stone. You could probably take a fine flat file. You don't want to go down on the stem, and you're just kind of holding it flat. You're not putting a lot of pressure. There's a little burr on there, and you're just trying to take that little burr off. Then you're going to wipe it with your fingers, get that grit and stuff off of there, and you're going to try it. It's still there. So we're going to keep working at it. And I can almost see it now. It's starting to show up. There's 3 grooves here, and I can see it on the edge of that first groove. I just hold it still and turn the valve. Doesn't take a lot. It's just like sharpening a knife. There's probably better ways of doing this. You figure out what works for you. That's what it's all about. Maybe you're a pro and you got fancy tools. Good for you. I'm just trying to show something. Still there. That's why I've always recommended, get your car running, as long as it doesn't smoke and it runs, works, then pick you up another engine. A used engine, take it apart, learn what you can, do some of these types of things. Do what you can afford to do. Have some fun with it. There's all kinds of things that you can do for free because you've got the time. Still there. Come on. If it's used and it's wore out and you screw it up, you're not really out anything but your time. I started doing this when I was, gosh, just a kid. We went to the garbage dump. I remember my dad and I, it was bad luck if we went to the landfill and didn't come home with something. And there'd be just mountains and mountains of junk. And in this garbage where we were unloading that day, I saw this engine laying in the trash. It looked like it was off a lawnmower. Somebody had taken it off, and it wasn't the whole lawnmower. It was just this engine. It was a 2-stroke engine. Oh, went in a little farther that time. We're making progress. So anyhow, I asked my dad, can I have it? Can I have it? Can I take it home? Yeah, I guess he said. So we threw it in the trunk, took it home. I took it downstairs. We had a little workshop in the basement, a little more of a carpenter shop than anything, but it had a big vise, kind of like this one. And my dad let me take some tools, and I took that thing apart. There wasn't much to it, but good gravy. I didn't have gray whiskers when I started this. Anyhow, I took that engine apart. It was just a 2-stroke. It was a puzzle to me for sure. but I got spark out of it, got knocked on my hind end, and I got it so it would fire in the basement. And there we go. Oh, it got stuck. See what happens when you get in a hurry? You want to get that grit off of there. Every damn bit of it. You know, you use oil when you're stoning your knife, right? Or your whatever it is. So you could use some oil, don't hurt anything. Getting closer because it started to go. Take a shop towel and wipe that off. And I'm going to put a little bit more whatever you got. Oh, look at that, it just fell right through. Okay, now, where are you? Okay, you got an exhaust valve. It's all carboned up. The seat's got some carbon on it, it's got some pits on it. You can see where it's been riding. Oops. Yeah. Let's take it over here while I got you on the stand. Go for a ride. Hang on. Hang on. I'm just going to take it over here to my wire wheel. Put your safety glasses on. Your virtual safety glasses. And I'm just going to clean it up here. There's always going to be a little carbon stuck at the base of that head there. Woohoo! Wear gloves. Be safe. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Boy, that carbon's really stuck down in there. Careful all the time. Be careful. Be safe. Have your video camera on so you can take it to the doctor's office with you and show them what happened. Ooh, starting to look better. More gooder. Huh? Huh? Sometimes you can use a little carb cleaner if you don't have a brush like this. Yeah, what would you do if you didn't have a wire wheel like this? Use your credit card, huh? Alright. Now, let's go back over here. I got my yoga class in just a few minutes, so I'm going to have to skedaddle. Alright. Just to show you. Got a little valve grinding compound here. This is the fine. That's as far as the vise turns. This is all carboned up. I want you to see this before and after. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's the before. Little carbon around there. I can clean that up too. And I will, but for right now, I'm gonna just show you what I'm doing here. Put a little valve grinding compound paste on this exhaust valve. Gonna put it back in the hole. I just took it out of. Don't mix up your valves. And I just got my fingers. They got these suction cup things that you can put on there. Put your valve, your head down on the table. That'll work. I got this other tool. Let me grab it and show you. Okay, I can hear the difference already. It gets real quiet. Okay, so just doing that. You saw it a moment ago on the wire wheel. I'm still seeing some pits there. So I'm going to put it back in. Hear it? Might take several times to do this to get it down there. This is not a professional valve job. This is just kind of cleaning them up. I don't mess around with a valve job unless I see the valve actually has a little bit of a curve in it from wear. And you'll see those as you start getting into these things and do more of them. You'll see it. I'm not trying to do a half-assed job, and I'm not trying to show somebody the wrong way to do it. I'm showing you options here. A lot of guys don't have the tools, the place, the time. There isn't anybody that will work on Volkswagens in their area, whatever. I'm just giving you some options here. Giving you some sideways options. That ain't gonna work. Okay guys, I'm running out of battery and memory. So real quick here, one last look at these heads. Let's get a wrap on this stuff. These are the old ZB Performance Magnum heads. They had a lot of carbon on them from 20 years of service on the 2110. They cleaned up okay, just using plain old valve grinding compound that you buy in a tube for about $3-4 at your local automotive supply store. And I just did a lap job, and you can look at the seats and you can criticize them if you want, but I've got full contact. The valves look good. They don't have that many miles on them. I'm reusing that head. Here is a 20-year-old head that I had on a 1776 motor, and these I would probably change some valves, but I'll tell you right now, these valves and guides are nice and snug, and they were run all that time with double springs. I lost the camshaft in that engine and the lifter bores. Could have been from the oil, could have been from running straight cut cam gears, it could have been from the age. That engine was fourth over when I rebuilt it, and I had 4 thousandths clearance on the crankshaft. That's still within the book's spec. And I ran it for 20 years. Never expected it to last that long, but it did. And the heads are still reusable. I'm happy with those heads. This head is one that I paid $150 for a couple of months ago, and I think they would work fine. They're the same size as stock, and they've been cut out here. They have 56 cc combustion chambers. This has 50, this has 55. These two are close. This valve is 40 by 35. This one is 35 by 32, which is the stock. This is 35 by 32. This one has also long reach spark plugs. You have to use special spark plugs in that. You can fit standard spark plugs in it, but you should be screwing up if you did that. Get the right spark plugs. Don't let them get carboned up. They'll fit. Make sure you got the right stuff for what you got. These two had the stock double valve springs on them and a performance cam. It was only a C35, probably didn't need that, but I was going by old school performance recommendations and running them. No problem there. So these would be new. All three of these will fit on a 1776, 1835, 2110, 2-liter. They're all cut for 90.5 or 92 cylinders. You pay they pay an extra $15 a head to have them cut like that. So, you know, there's going to be a little bit of horsepower available. And keep this in mind when you're thinking horsepower. It don't matter if you've got 100 horsepower or if you've got 57 horsepower. It only takes so much horsepower to move that car down the road. The only time you feel that horsepower is when you come to a hill or you need to pass somebody in a hurry. That's when the horsepower factor is going to kick in and give you a little edge. When you're out there with your buddies going side by side going to the car show, and you're going down a 2-lane interstate and you get side by side and you do a roll-off hit, the guy with the most horsepower is probably going to win. You know, what does it cost him to do that? What can you afford? Have fun with it. Think for yourself. Make your own decisions. Don't believe all the hype that you read in the magazines and stuff. They're showing you what products are available, and they're going to push the products that everybody makes the most money, because the people that are paying their paychecks are the ones advertising in those magazines. What do you really do with your car? Be honest with yourself. Do what you can afford. Have fun. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. TheEZGZ out.